I never know with you where we're going with these things.
That's the beauty of it. We've got our favorite wellness director on again today for this is your officially like your third time. I think you're the first
You know.
three-peat.
Oh, wow. I'm honored. Listen, when it comes to wellness and mindfulness, I should be on every day.
Well, you're one of the big reasons amongst others that we want to do this podcast in the first place because there's so much great work happening within the walls of Valiant Living every single day. And we want to just tell the story of that because, I know from my experience, we're going to talk a little bit about just meditation and mindfulness and all those things. I had no point of reference for that when I came to Valiant. I had never
Yeah.
done mindfulness work. I'd never done breath work. I'd never done meditation, yoga, anything. And now it's a very common everyday practice for me, especially around breath work and meditation. And I learned almost all of
Good.
that from you when I was there. So we're going to
Oh,
do something a
good.
little different today. We've never done this before. We're actually going to talk a little bit about mindfulness and then in meditation, but we're going to try to keep it to like 10, 15 minutes. And then we actually
Okay.
have a guided meditation that you actually created for us that we're going to do on the podcast. So anybody who's listening, they can take a moment, whether they're driving in their car or whatever. Of course, don't close your eyes, but they can actually take some time to get centered and use this next, 20, 30 minutes to actually do the practice. So thanks for being on. Let's dive right in.
I love
Talk to us
that.
a little bit about mindfulness meditation and maybe a little bit about what it's not, because there's some misconceptions around it.
Yeah, and I think I want to just jump right into what you said a few minutes ago about your own personal journey and how when you came to Valiant, y- uh, you don't think that you were practicing mindfulness and meditation. You may not have been practicing meditation per se because that's more of a structured practice, if you will, and we can talk specifically about different types of meditations. But I imagine, you were practicing mindfulness, and most people are without even really knowing that that's what they're doing,
Mm,
because really mindfulness is just this practice of being present and engaged in everyday life. And some are better than others at it. Some are more aware of their actions and their words and their emotions. Some people are just really very much in tune with that, and others aren't so much, but we all have that within us. I had this really cool conversation this morning on my way into work with a friend, and he said something to the effect, Melissa, we're all the same. We all just want freedom. And I thought to myself, true. And we all just want peace. We want
yes.
inner peace. We want outer peace. I don't know. I would challenge that. Anybody who says, I don't really seek peace. I'm going to challenge you on that. Right.
Yeah.
And mindfulness is kind of like I look at it as like this portal or this gateway to really finding an inner peace. So yeah, and when you came in, yeah, maybe your life was in absolute disarray, but I imagine there were parts of you that were present and engaged and aware. Probably not without judgment. Mindfulness is generally an
Mhm.
exercise that we attempt to do without this judgment, but it's just it just involves a lot of awareness around emotions and feelings and things. So there was
Yeah.
probably a small part of you. There was probably a small part of you, Drew,
Yeah, and I
that
think
had.
you have a way of
And you're a
drawing that
prayer and
out
you're a
of us.
prayerful human being too. When we
Yeah.
pray, prayer is a form of meditation. So
Yeah. Well, and I was just thinking there was one Friday in particular I came in, I was very, very dysregulated and my mind was very anxious and we had a yoga mindfulness, about an hour and a half with you that day. And where I was when I started and where I was at the end was totally different
mhm,
places, right? And what I love
right.
what I love about what you do at Valiant is you help reframe, because a lot of us come in with this preconceived, at least the tradition that I was raised in, yoga meditation was like, oh, it's a bunch of weird, new agey stuff, whatever. And I'm
Yeah.
like, you help reframe mindfulness and meditation, and it's so much more expansive than what I realized. Because even like the wilderness stuff we
Mhm.
do and being in nature, and you talked about being
Yeah.
present. So could you unpack a little bit about just the varieties of ways that we can connect, to back to ourselves and get grounded? It's more than what I thought. It's not just one pathway.
No, it's definitely not one pathway, and I'm glad that you said it like that, because I like to think of myself as a modern day practitioner, because I think that there are a lot of ways that we can. I'll hear yoga. Sometimes I'll hear yoga referred to as a yoga class or a yoga session, and I have always used different language around it. It's all semantics, but I always refer to it as a practice,
Hmm.
right? This practice of yoga, this practice of mindfulness. Like, think about it. If you wanted to learn how to play an instrument or you wanted to learn a new language, you would practice. And the more we practice something, the better we get at it, the more it becomes sort of woven into the fabric of our existence. And so I like to think of mindfulness that way, and that's how I try to approach it in my own personal life. It's it's an everyday practice, right?
Hmm.
It's this
Hmm.
awareness. Again, we talked, about this idea of being fully present and engaged, in the current moment, and without all this judgment and all this, I should be feeling this, or um, thinking that. So there's you're right. It can be. I think there can be a misperception around it.
Sure.
Of course, that I believe, for me, then probably the most powerful way to connect to my inner self and to find a deeper sense of peace is through nature, is to be outdoors.
Hmm.
And so, this what we do here. Every Thursday we get outside. Every day we move, and every Thursday we get outside. And you noted that just spending 1 hour each day, whether it's learning a new breathing technique or moving your body in shapes and forms in ways that don't necessarily feel natural at first, but then eventually start to, again, become part of, you feel empowered, you feel stronger, and then you step away from these instances just with a different sense of self.
Yeah.
And I don't have a goal in this with clients, but I hope in my heart that they eventually find a deeper sense of peace.
Yeah,
We
well
all seek
said.
that.
Can you talk us through a couple of the different practices that you use there? Because you mentioned practices that I know, like the cold water and sound, and there's just different things
All
that
of
I
that.
was all new to me. Can you just kind of unpack a few of those?
Yeah, I mean, wow, we tap into lots, lots and lots of different modalities. I was thinking about this the other day, just in terms of seasons. We've been obviously in this winter season, and I really try to move energetically with nature and what nature is asking of us. And in the wintertime, there's this invitation, if you will, to go more inward, to dive inside. Whereas the sun starts to come out, days get longer, temperatures heat up. That's more of an energetic time of year, right? Where we just kind of need to maybe move in a different way, and experience things a little bit differently to tap deeper into ourselves. So we're just kind of coming out of that winter season, and we try to do cold water immersion therapy. That's what we call it, rather than cold plunging, because we like there to be a therapeutic component to it. Everything from teaching people how to breathe before they step into that really freezing cold water, to how to actually step into, and your body's going to obviously maybe feel a sense of shock from your toes all the way up to your shoulders. So we try to do all of these things very intentionally. We teach lots of different types of breathing techniques. We've been working a little bit with our group right now on the Wim Hof breathing, which is in
Hmm.
preparation for these cold water immersion therapy exercises that we're doing. It's been really cool. We'll do a hot yoga practice where everybody just gets,
Hmm.
really warm and moves their body for an hour. And then we open the door, and clients have just kind of been going out and laying down in the snow. afterwards.
Wow.
So yeah, that's been actually really, really fun. That kind of just happened organically one day after a yoga practice. I was putting some air in the room and I opened the door and I said, if anybody's interested in a little uh, cold water or snow immersion, you got a whole mound of it out here. And everybody just kind of went, felt
These
great. Came in,
crazy
snow was
guys.
on their faces and on their eyelashes, and it was just
I love it.
it was really quite magical.
I
So we
love it.
try
That's
to we
beautiful.
try to incorporate as many different modalities as possible. Wilderness therapy, when we get up into the mountains, we try to do things. We've actually set up mazes in the woods. We call it the No Way Out maze, and the whole idea is to blindfold individuals and have them go through this maze up in the forest. And there's intentionally, the way we design it, there's no way out, but we don't
Mhm.
tell them that. We
Mhm.
have to let them get to that on their own. So they
Wow.
have to quote ask for help. And so the metaphor is, how many times do we get stuck or lost or confused? And we want to regress and go back to those old habits, those old patterns, when in fact asking for help can show us a whole new way. It shows
Yep.
us a way out most of the
Mhm.
time.
Yeah.
So that we're going to be doing that here in a couple of weeks. But yeah, there's just a lot of different modalities, and I'm very fortunate in the work that I do here, and that people trust me enough to be creative and really try to come up with ways and ideas for introducing people to new things, because not what worked for you may not work for the next person, doesn't necessarily work for me. I know in my own personal practice, I change it up all the time. i
Mhm.
have i have friends who are very dedicated to waking up at before the sun, 30 minutes seated meditation every morning, self-guided. And that's a beautiful, beautiful discipline. That's not for me. I am disciplined to an extent, but I'm a mover. I find most of my peace, my internal peace, by moving. It could be quiet movement, it could be more rigorous movement,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
there's lots of different ways to do it. And I think that's how you can be successful. That's how you can sustain this, to look for different ways. Different seasons, your body wants to move differently, your mind is calling you to do things in a different way. So
Yeah.
we have to pay attention to that,
Yeah. I
right?
love that. And I know I need to let you go, and we're gonna get into this. It's you really designed it to be a morning meditation, but it really can work whenever. It's about a 10-minute
Yeah.
experience here that we're gonna get to experience all together. But
Yes.
before we go into that, could you just give us a little bit, just the benefits of mindfulness and practicing this? Like, what does it do for us?
Well, I think first and foremost, there's a lot of, I always think about, the world is a very noisy place.
Mhm.
And with all of these, there's so much noise, I think, screaming at us every day, right? Every
Mhm.
every turn. Just the way people move, the way people drive to work, the way people do things. We're moving, I feel like, very aggressively. And so meditation is really meant to kind of help stabilize the nervous
Yep.
system and really bring us back to a more grounded sense of safety. So a lot of us, the world struggles with a lot of depression and anxiety. And I think one of the number one things it does, it just kind of helps reduce that stress that we might be feeling. 5 minutes, a 5 minute walk outside, or a 5 minute sit with your face up to the sun, just closing your eyes. It can, that little reset
Mhm.
can drastically change the way we move into the rest of our
Mhm.
day, the interactions that we have with others.
Yeah.
I think it makes a huge difference when we feel more grounded, more at peace, safer, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
I think I've noticed a big benefit there. So around emotional regulation, um, self awareness. I think we talk about meditation specifically. You're focusing on a single point of a single point of focus.
Mhm.
So it helps with concentration. And
Yep.
who doesn't want to learn to concentrate again with all that external noise, to be able to just kind of filter that out and focus better? I think that's a huge, huge benefit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and the list goes on and on and on, but I think ultimately we're all trying to heal from something,
Mhm.
and we all want to feel safe. We all want to feel at peace. Like my friend said this morning, we all want to experience this idea of freedom.
Yeah.
So
That's
it can
awesome.
contribute to all of these things.
Well, thank you for sharing all this with us, and
Yeah.
now we get to practice it. So if you're listening or watching, let's let's pause, or maybe if you can't do it right now, let's come back to it later and let's spend 10 minutes. And you do such a brilliant job walking us through. I always joke with you that you should have your own full series of meditation, guided because especially those guys who go through the program, we're so used to you and your voice, and we want,
Mhm.
and so
Yeah.
you're really brilliant at doing this. So
Thank
thanks
you.
for sharing with us today. And yeah, let's enjoy a 10-minute mindfulness meditation with Melissa, our wonderful wellness director.
Thank you. Hello, and welcome to your guided morning meditation. My name is Melissa Fantana-Rosa, and I'm the Wellness Director at Valiant Living. This guided morning meditation focuses on how to start your day with a mindset of choosing happiness and finding gratitude before your feet ever hit the floor. Research shows us that a simple daily gratitude practice has invaluable benefits, from reducing pain in our body to boosting our immune system and releasing anxiety and stress. Practicing gratitude daily can improve sleep quality, enhance our relationships, and give us a more positive outlook on life. You might even discover that a daily gratitude practice deepens your faith with a higher being. Whatever you're seeking, simply acknowledging your appreciation for the everyday gifts will help you attain a healthier, more positive outlook on life. Let's begin. You may choose to stay lying down or sit up to find a relaxed, supported sitting position. Start with an awareness of how your body is feeling this morning. Notice any tension, tightness, or muscle congestion that might be present. Note exactly where you feel this in your body. And as you breathe, send a gentle release to these spaces. Now allow your right ear to fall toward your right shoulder. Be gentle as you create space to stretch into the opposite side of your neck. And take a few easy breaths here. Lift your head back to center, and very slowly drop your left ear towards your left shoulder. With the same ease and awareness, breathe gently into the stretch on the second side. Lift lift your head back to center and relax your neck and your shoulders here. Continue to breathe naturally in and out with ease. Now we move into the gratitude practice. In your mind's eye, create a short and simple list of persons or things that you are most grateful for in this moment. It could be the comfort and warmth of your environment, transportation to work or to your appointments. You might be grateful for a coworker, a loved one, or someone you haven't even met today who just lends a helping hand. It might be the smell of your coffee as it brews in the other room, your favorite pillow or blanket that enhances your rest. Simple or grand, note a few things that you are most thankful for in this moment. Reflect here on everything that is good today. You are choosing happiness. Go deeper now into this connection with your breath. You can add some subtle movement for this next phase if you'd like, reaching your arms to the sky with every inhale and lowering your hands together in front of your heart with every exhale. And we begin with a full exhale of the breath. Release all of your air. And on your next inhale, breathe in strength. Exhale weakness. Breathe in courage. Exhale fear. Breathe in joy. Exhale sadness. Breathe in trust. Exhale, release control. Breathe in faith. Exhale doubt. And lastly, breathe into every corner of your being. Fill up your body from your belly to your rib cage to your lungs. Inhale your breath. And as you exhale, feel into the expansiveness that is you. soft and gentle with the breaths. You're choosing happiness. As you prepare to open your eyes and move into your day, say to yourself aloud, "Today I am grateful for." Today I will thank. Today I will show my gratitude. This concludes your morning meditation. From my heart to yours, I hope something good happens to you today. Namaste. At Valiant Living, our mission is to restore lives and families from addiction. If you or someone you know is seeking treatment, please reach out for a conversation about how we can support you and your loved ones.